Dengarkan UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Duh, udah mana mau ujian, belajar gak ngerti-ngerti lagi. Pusing. Wah, apa nih? Tutorial radio. Cek kali aja ada materi yang aku ngerti ada di sini juga nih. www.utradio.ut.ac.id.
Buat kamu yang masih suka bingung sama materi karena belajar mandiri, tenang. Sekarang ada tutorial radio yang bisa bantu kamu belajar. Di website UT Radio, kamu bisa dengerin materi saat live streaming. Untuk jadwal live streamingnya, kalau kamu mahasiswa FKIP, pantengin ya setiap hari Senin. Selasa ada FEB. Rabu diisi sama FISIP. Kamis giliran FST. Dan Jumat khusus sekolah pasca sarjana. Nah, buat kamu nih yang ketinggalan live streamingnya, kamu bisa loh klik tombol Watch Now di jadwal website biar bisa nonton dan dengerin berulang kali di YouTube Universitas Terbuka TV. Kamu juga bisa tanya-tanya secara langsung saat live. Tinggal komen aja di YouTube. Gimana? Lengkap kan?
Nah, ini dia nih materi yang aku cari. Akhirnya bisa belajar dan jelasin langsung deh sama dosennya. Jadi, nggak pusing lagi deh soal belajar mandiri karena ada tutorial radio yang setia menemani kamu untuk belajar setiap hari.
Kamu calon mahasiswa UT? Atau udah jadi mahasiswa UT tapi bingung cari informasi UT di mana? Ini dia program seputar Universitas Terbuka. Siaran ini bisa kamu dengarkan dan saksikan secara live streaming di www.utradio.ut.ac.id atau YouTube Universitas Terbuka TV. Mulai dari informasi pendaftaran, registrasi, pembayaran, tuton, sampai ujian, kamu bisa dapetin infonya di program ini. Selain itu, juga banyak loh mahasiswa berprestasi dan inspiratif yang diundang siaran di sini. Jadi, jangan sampai ketinggalan ya. Terus dengarkan dan saksikan program seputar Universitas Terbuka hanya di UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Loh, kok di sini? Katanya mau kuliah.
Lah, ini aku kuliah
Kuliah di mana kok sambil healing?
di Universitas Terbuka.
Universitas Terbuka, apa tuh?
Iya, Universitas Terbuka, universitas negeri yang bisa kuliah sambil kerja.
Kampus negeri? Bisa sambil kerja?
Iya, bisa sambil kerja. Selain sambil kerja, aku juga bisa sambil healing, sambil jalan-jalan, dan menyalurkan hobi aku. Pokoknya fleksibel deh.
Wih, enak banget ya. Pengen deh kuliah di...
Wabarakatuh, UT Radio, Open Education Station for All. Halo UT Listeners, kembali lagi dengan saya Marisha Riana. Dan hari ini seperti biasa, saya akan memandu acara selama 1 jam ke depan. Gimana kabarnya hari ini? Semoga baik-baik saja ya. Dan pastinya saya senang banget hari ini karena teman-teman dapat menyaksikan tayangan di tutorial radio. Pembahasannya sangat menarik, khususnya untuk teman-teman yang mempelajari mata kuliah Keteknikan Budidaya Ikan. Tapi sebelumnya, teman-teman dapat menyaksikan tayangan ini melalui 3 kanal. Yang pertama melalui www.utradio.ut.ac.id. Yang kedua, teman-teman dapat menyaksikan melalui YouTube channel kita, Universitas Terbuka. Dan yang terakhir bisa melalui UT TV. Silahkan berikan pertanyaan, tanggapan, masukan. Boleh banget teman-teman melalui WhatsApp kita di 0812 1039 2726. Direct message juga bisa melalui Instagram di @radio.ut, dan yang terakhir bisa melalui live chat yang saat ini juga sedang live ya di YouTube channel kita Universitas Terbuka. Berikan pertanyaan, tanggapan ataupun komentar terhadap topik yang akan diangkat pada hari ini. Sebelumnya saya ingin memperkenalkan dulu mata kuliah yang akan dibahas. Ini khusus untuk teman-teman yang berada di Fakultas Sains dan Teknologi untuk program studi agribisnis. Mata kuliah Keteknikan Budidaya Ikan dengan topik Invasive Species in Indonesia Waters. Telah hadir di studio Profesor Czech University of Science Prague, Faculty of Agrobiology, Food and Natural Resources, Department of Zoology and Fisheries, Profesor Jiří, Patoka, Ph.D. DIS. Hello, Professor, how are you?
Hello, thank you very much. I'm fine. Baik.
Baik. So this is the second time you came to Indonesia?
No, fourth time.
Fourth time?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was here for the very first time in 2017. Next in 2019, and 2 years before in 2023 for the third time.
Okay.
And now for the fourth time.
For the fourth
but
time.
second time at UT.
Oh, this is second time
Yeah.
you go to it. First time in 20?
In 2017 in Indonesia, but 2023.
23, so
In,
2 years
UT.
ago.
Yeah, 2 years
So
ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we are so welcome for you to come again to Indonesia and UT Radio today.
Thank you very much.
We will discuss about invasive species in Indonesia waters. So this is topics very important for our study in here. Nah, I will ask the first question. It's about understanding biological invasion. What is biological invasion and why it is a major concern in global biodiversity?
Yeah. So, biological invasions are a global topic because invasive species cause huge losses, not only environmentally but also economically or socio-economically in many countries over the planet.
Okay.
And invasive species is a non-native species which was introduced out of its native range to some new localities. And it can reproduce there and spread in the surroundings and negatively impact native biota. So therefore some native species can be in risk or can extinct totally, and also negative consequences for people who would like to exploit these native species will come because the invaders will outcompete the native species. Moreover, also some new pathogens and parasites can be introduced, and indeed the negative impact on native species is obvious.
So why are humans are always the key factor in the spread of invasive species?
Yes. This is the definition of biological invasions, that the vector is human.
Okay.
In all cases.
And what humans do that makes the species this of invasive?
Yeah. So the humans can introduce species directly, intentionally, but also unintentionally. In the pathways, we can count some intentional introduction of species for future harvesting in the field, for agriculture, for fisheries, for forestry, and so on, also for hunting. And some unintentionally pathways can be transport with other commodities, like insect transported with fruit and vegetables and so on, or some escapes, for example, from indoor aquaria or from some pond aquaculture, and these species are introduced unintentionally by humans, but humans are the vector.
Okay. Now, how do we assess whether a species is truly invasive or just non-native?
Okay, so it is easy to say if the species is non-native or not. But in case of Indonesia, where are more than 17,000 islands full of endemic species, and there are 3 biodiversity hotspots. So the same species can be endemic and native in some island, but non-native in the rest of the country. So it is not maybe not easy for people to say which species is non-native in Indonesia, because the same species can be native and also non-native. But generally, when the species is introduced out of the native range, so it is non-native. But how to identify the invader? The negative impact is the definition. Non-native species which have negative impact on native biota or human well-being, so these are invasive species. There is a problem with facing biological invasions, because once the species is introduced, our possibilities how to fight against are very limited. So the focus, the priority has to be on the prevention of biological invasions, but how to identify the invasive species before its introduction. It's not easy, but we have some software tools, some modeling tools, how to try to evaluate the species before its introduction to say it has some invasion potential.
Okay, and what are the most common pathway for invasive species in Indonesia?
Good question, but hard to say. I guess that currently one of the most important pathways is ornamental aquaculture and pet trade, because these animals, which are kept for aesthetic purpose, are widespread and popular over the territory, because the aquarium keeping and the aquarium fish keeping is very popular hobby activity in Indonesia, and many people do not care about some invasion potential of
So
these
other
animals.
countries not care about that fish?
So in other countries, we have also ornamental aquaculture as important pathway of non-native species and invasive species, but especially in the tropics, the invasion potential is much higher, because many or most of these animals are of the tropical origin. Doesn't matter if from South America, Africa, or Southeastern Asia or South Asia, but many of them can survive in Indonesian waters.
Okay, so interesting. we will right back after this break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned di UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Bahwa masa depan Indonesia itu bertumpu pada Universitas Terbuka ini. Tidak mungkin ada revolusi pendidikan tanpa teknologi, dan sekarang universitas yang sudah full online, full teknologi ya Universitas Terbuka. Ya semoga Universitas Terbuka ini semakin berkembang, amin, semakin baik ke depannya, karena benar-benar untuk bisa meningkatkan skill dari seluruh lulusan SMA di Indonesia yang banyak sekali, itu ya paling mudah dan paling scalable itu ya melalui online. Sesuatu yang tidak mungkin bisa terjadi tanpa adanya teknologi. Dan Universitas Terbuka itu adalah a key player in this, di higher education.
Sayur-sayur.
Harga-harga sekarang pada mahal.
Tiap hari masuknya kangkung terus.
Lihat tuh, udah jadi PNS. Padahal kuliah aja enggak. Pasti sarjananya beli.
Dia kan gak pernah kelihatan pergi kuliah. Tiba-tiba udah ada gelar SIP.
Permisi. Ibu-ibu ketinggalan berita nih. Dia kan kuliahnya di Universitas Terbuka. Kuliahnya bisa di mana aja, kapan aja, kampusnya negeri, biayanya kagak mahal. Kalau kata anak saya nih, fleksibel.
Kok abang tahu UT?
Ya tahu dong, anak saya yang nomor 1 PNS guru, lulusan UT. Nah yang nomor 2 sekarang udah semester 5.
Wah hebat abang ini, jualan sayur anaknya kuliah semua.
UT itu kan mahasiswanya beragam, dari mulai kalangan elit sampai ekonomi sulit kayak saya. Kuliah di mana aja dan kapan aja, cuma UT yang bisa begini.
Datang di Universitas Terbuka. Kali ini aku akan mengajak kamu untuk virtual campus tour di Universitas Terbuka. Universitas Terbuka atau UT memiliki kantor pusat di Pondok Cabe, Tangerang Selatan, serta 39 unit program belajar jarak jauh atau UPBJJ yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia. Rangka mendukung layanan kepada mahasiswa, berbagai sarana dan prasarana dibangun dan terus ditingkatkan kualitasnya. Ayo kita mulai. Di kantor pusat, terdapat gedung fakultas yang merupakan jantung dari pengembangan produk akademik UT. Gedung fakultas telah dilengkapi dengan sarana dan prasarana untuk mendukung kenyamanan bekerja. Terdapat 4 fakultas di Universitas Terbuka dan 1 sekolah pasca sarjana. Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan, Fakultas Sains dan Teknologi, Fakultas Hukum, Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, dan Fakultas Ekonomi, serta Sekolah Pasca Sarjana. Gedung fakultas memiliki sarana dan prasarana yang terstandar yang terdiri dari masing-masing fakultas menempati 2 lantai. 1 lantai diperuntukkan untuk ruang layanan mahasiswa, ruang konsultasi mahasiswa, ruang dekan, ruang wakil dekan, ruang kepala bagian tata usaha, ruang tenaga kependidikan, dan ruang sidang. Ruang sidang dilengkapi dengan fasilitas video conference yang digunakan untuk rapat koordinasi dengan dosen yang tersebar di UPBJJ, serta ujian sidang untuk mahasiswa pasca sarjana.
Education Station for All. Kembali lagi dengan saya Marisha Riana pastinya di Tutorial Radio. And I'm still with Professor Jiří in here to talking about invasive species in Indonesia waters. Nah, teman-teman tadi udah sempat mendengar penjelasan di awal ya, apa sih itu sebenarnya biological invasion, seperti apa gitu ya. Nah, sekarang saya ingin melanjutkan pertanyaan saya ke Professor Jiří. So, Professor, what can we learn from the spread of Chirex quadricarinatus? It's so hard to say it. Okay, across the Java and beyond.
Okay, so the common name of this crayfish is red claw. Maybe it's better than Latin. So the red claw is native to Australia, northwest part of Australia and southern part of Papua. One can say that it is native in Indonesia because the western part of Papua is Indonesian territory, but it is absolutely non-native in the rest of the country. So the introduction to Java, Sumatra, Lombok, Kalimantan, and so on is undesired, unwanted, but it was done. The population was introduced from Australia, not from Papua, but from Australia. And the first record in the wild was in Lido Lake, here in Java in 2015. And it was published 1 year later, and the following further monitoring of the species revealed other localities. After 2 years, many localities in Java and in Sumatra were observed, and in many of them the presence of the crayfish was confirmed. So currently I guess that this species, the red claw, is widespread over the Indonesian territory because people like it for consumption and also as ornamental animal, and therefore the production, which is easy, was popular or is popular for the farmers, and the introduction to other localities is without any restrictions and regulations. So people did it, and yeah, so the species is here. On the other hand, this is not the worst crayfish in Indonesia, because North American crayfish was introduced also to Java in 2000, I'm not sure, maybe 15, maybe a little bit earlier, and this crayfish is smaller, but can reproduce in smaller sizes in 1 year old only, and this crayfish is also a vector of non-native pathogen. And this is the bad news for Indonesian biodiversity, because the pathogen causes a disease called crayfish plague. And crayfish plague is a disease which in Europe devastated European crayfish completely. There are all native species in trouble and close to the extinction. And in 2017 we discovered the crayfish plague for the first time in the tropics in Indonesia. It was also in Java, in Pasir Angin village, where some outdoor farm was established, and the North American crayfish is there, and the pathogen is also there. So the spreading in Indonesia can be expected, and if yes, so the native species and also the red claw can be in a risk, and not only species in the wild, but also some species in the aquaculture can be negatively impacted.
So I want to ask about, is there any story about invasive fish or anything that can be fixed?
Yeah. So I hope yes. In Brantas River, we found in close to Surabaya, we found some invasive species like Arapaima and freshwater stingrays, both from South America. And I hope that the invasion is at the beginning currently, and maybe can be managed. But to be honest, once the species start the reproduction and spreading over, its limitation and regulation is a hard job. So maybe the prevention of introduction events on other islands is the best way how to limit the species a little bit. Okay, it is on one island, but we can do our best to stop the introduction to other islands.
Okay. Why is the ornamental aquaculture industry such a critical factor?
Because the demand of aquaculture, of ornamental animals for aquarium keeping is increasing in year by year. And Indonesia, I mean globally, and Indonesia is one of the main producers and exporters of these animals, and therefore the production here is increasing significantly. But local people also produce these animals in not only in some indoor facilities but also outdoor, and also in lakes like some danau, and these animals can easily escape. It is a real risk which exists in Indonesia, and because there are not only native species produced, many of them are non-native, so they can survive, and people can release them in the wild with no regulations. So therefore the ornamental aquaculture is one of the main pathways of introduction.
Okay. How about the climate? The climatic factor, this is contribute to species establishment in various Indonesian region. What about that?
So at first we have the era of changing climate.
Yeah.
So it is necessary to assess the situation with some future scenarios also, not only the current situation. But in general, we can say that the Indonesian territory is the tropical zone, so tropical species have the big chance to establish here new populations and start the reproduction. But the answer is not so simple, because not all tropical animals have the same life requirements. So we need some detailed insight in the issue, and therefore in the research we use some modeling of environmental factors to compare the native range of the animal and the target territory like Indonesia. And via this way we are able to say which regions, which areas are in risk of establishment of potentially introduced new species there. And via this way we are able to prepare the blacklist of unwanted species with high invasion potential before their introduction. This is very important. Once we can say which species is potentially invasive, we can ban it or stop the introduction. And this is the way how to focus on low risk species only, which are not invasive and can be exploited with no trouble.
Okay, interesting. And the last question, I will ask about the regulation. What kind of regulation that you think it's effective for preventing the invasion?
So if you mean some regulations like management measurements, so the first step is the education of the public, because without the cooperation with the public, nothing will change. We need to educate people about some possible risks and about some solutions, but some smart solutions, not just say to ban everything and stop to do something and so on, but also to give some possibilities how to modify the farming, for example, or something like this, the production of fish with focus on the low-risk species, which can replace the high-risk one. And this is the way how we can try to improve the situation. But we need also to share our words with policymakers, because some laws and improvement of legislative framework is needed. On the other hand, as the last step, the education and improving of the knowledge of the people, of the public, is very important to be in front or in advance of the laws and bans, because when not, people will go around and will release the banned animals, not to regulate them.
Wow, okay, so this is interesting discussion. I know it's just a short of time, but thank you so much for Professor Jiří to come to talk about invasive species in Indonesia waters. UT Radio, saya Marisha Riana, pamit undur suara. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. UT Radio, Open Education Station for All. Bye.